Hello and welcome to the final round of the 2013 FIA and FIM European Drag Racing Championships. We've got a lot of championship races still to be decided. Some of them are sewn up, but let's find out how they all got on. Well, one that is sewn up is Pro Modified, and the first race we're going to see is the highlights from the quarterfinals of FIA Pro Mod. Robert Houston against Michael Gorquist. Now, Mickey's had a great season. That's him in the far lane with the Camaro, blowing one of his crew guys' hats off. They're actually wearing gold hats this weekend because they finished first in the championship. He's been doing a bit of testing over the weekend, not had his normal great qualifying efforts and everything else as well, and he shakes the tyres in this round and gets beaten by Robert Houston. 6-0-8 for the Dutch team. Lots of hugging all round. I'm sure Mickey would have liked to go out on a win, but it wasn't to be. He was ahead of Robert. A big tyre shake, and that's the end of his weekend. He still goes home with a championship though, so it can't be all bad. And the next race that we're going to see is between, well, there you go, Silver Hats. And that's the man that's going to finish second, Matthias Vulcan from Sweden, who goes red against David Vegter. These two have raced each other a number of times through the season. And Matthias, that's the second red light he's had in racing, 6-0-9, but it was on a red light. So he's no longer in competition. David Vegter gets a freebie effectively into the semi-finals. And Dave's had a pretty good season all round as well. There you go, you can clearly see Matthias Vulcan go first, but it was just that bit too quick. So, all Dutch on one side, Robert Houston and Mark Mayhausen, and David Vegter against Bruno Barda. So it's that race that we're going to see. David with the MPM car. The team haven't managed to get the car from one end to the other all weekend without shaking the tyres. He can run in the 6.0s when he's on form. Talking of 6.0s, Bruno Barda has been nothing but 6.0 in them all weekend. Well, what a great race. They leave almost dead even. And at the stripe, it's Bruno by just 0.02 of a second. Almost identical speeds as well. David Vegter and the team found the combination just in time, but it was, well, not quite good enough by that much. On the other side of the ladder, Robert Houston took a bye run because Mark Mayhausen didn't make it out for his semi-final race. So it's Robert against Bruno. The final of FIA Pro Mod. So Bruno, can he pull out another 6-0 run? Robert's been in the 6.0s this weekend as well. They're dead even on the tree once again. A bit of shake for Robert, and that's the end of his weekend. 6.05 once again. Bruno, 7 runs in a row in the mid 6.0s. They've just had such a great weekend. Dead even on the tree. Robert with a little bit of shake and a little bit out of shape as well. A couple of car lengths. The win going to Switzerland. So we're on to the Super Twins with Veselippen against your newly crowned champ Ronnie Orson and Samu Kampanen against Martin de Haas from the Netherlands. Well, that's Samu. On the V-twin against Martin de Haas, and Martin goes red. Even though he's out in front, it's not going to count. Man in the far lane, Samu Kampanen, through into the final with a 6.82. Nice run. Martin de Haas consistent in the 7.2s, but the red light did him in. Well, the great crowd at Santa Pod amusing themselves by doing Mexican waves. That's one place we do hold a European record for at Santa Pod Raceway, is the Mexican wave from one end to the other. On the other side of the ladder, it's Veselippen, was supposed to be against Ronnie Orson, but Ronnie had a big boomer in round 1, couldn't make it back for round 2. And it's Vesser going to be going through into the final. Now, interestingly, if Vesser wins that final round against Samu, he will be champion for the Super Twins. Still a fairly easy run. Another one in the low 7s, clicks it off before the finish line to save parts. And it's an all-finish final in Super Twin. So here we go then. This is going to decide number 1 and 2 in the championship. That man there, Veselippen, very consistent. Not the quickest, but in the low 7s every time. If he can take the win light against Samu, he will be the champion. But at the moment, it looks like way out in front. It is. Wow, 6.76, low ET of the weekend for him. And Samu Kampanen takes the win, and number 2 in the championship with that final run. Just look at the way the bike dangles the front wheel all the way down the racetrack. He really is one spectacular rider. I'm sure very happy as well. It looks quite worrying to us when you ride it. What's it like on the bike?
Well, it's really good. I like to ride it like front wheel really high up, then it's easy to steer. So everybody says no, I'm running it too high, but I'm old stunt rider, so I think I like it that way. And that's why I like Super Twins, because they're so difficult to ride.
200 miles an hour with one wheel in the air. Yep, you've got to be pretty special to ride those. Next up, we've got FIA Pro Stock. We're back onto 4 wheels, and it's all Sweden in the semis. The first race we're going to see is Magnus Pedersen. There he is, burning out against Jimmy Orland. Jim's already wrapped up the title. Pro 2 on the car for the last few minutes of the season. He will be Pro number 1 again. He ran the quickest run ever on an asphalt track by a Pro Stock car early in qualifying, down to 6:53. And he's going to be in another final. Wire-to-wire win for Jimmy Orland, 6:57. Magnus Pedersen a little off pace for him with a 6:87. He's been down in the 6.6s this season. Just not quite his weekend here at Santa Pod. So Jim goes through. Again, over 210 miles an hour. On the other side of the ladder, Michael Malmgren beat Thomas Lindström, outgoing champ, on a hole shot. So the final. The last race of the season in FIA Pro Stock. The first time we haven't had Jimmy Orland against Thomas Lindström all season long. Michael Malmgren with the Pontiac GTO. There he is, the crew, just letting all the burnout smoke out of the cockpit. He won the last race on a hole shot. Can he do the same against Jimmy Orland? It doesn't look like it. Jim's in front already, and, well, a car length again. That's a daylight win in FIA Pro Stock. Jimmy Orland wraps up just a tremendous season for him and the team. You just backed up a fantastic season with another win.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I wish we could have won in Sweden as well, the race where the tranny broke. But, I mean, you can't have much better season than this. This is awesome. I love it. And KV Parts and Yodis, we had a lot of people from Yodis here. I was one of our main sponsors. And what can I say? It's a dream season. I got the best team in Pro Stock history, in my opinion.
Well, definitely the best team this season for the last number of them as well. That's Jimmy Orland, winner and event winner in FIA Pro Stock. We're on to 2 wheels now in Top Fuel Bike. This is Rickard Gustafsson with one of the world's quickest and fastest funny bikes. I'm going to shut up. This is the world's quickest ever run on a funny bike. And look at the numbers, 6:36, his first time ever in the 6.3s. The quickest funny bike run, like I said, in the world. Congratulations to Rickard and the team as we move on into eliminations for Top Fuel Bike. So, highlights of round 1. Ian King ran the first 5-second run on home soil down into the 5 lines, well over 230 miles an hour. Round 1, he's up against Rene van der Berg. Now, Rene's had a quite horrible season, unfortunately, with the bike. Lots of broken bits and pieces. The team worked very hard all weekend to get it back together, and he's going to give Ian King a pretty good race as well. But look at the Golf bike way out in front. Clicks it off before the finish line, and you know what? Rene van der Berg in the other lane, 6:54, 2:16. That's a personal best for him. But Ian King just a way out in front. Look at the power of that bike. Just pours it on, even though he clicks it off before the finish line. Still got enough in the tank to take the win. There's a crowd wait for the next pair of bikes to come out onto the Sandspod quarter mile. This is Otto Kniebel, the Imperial Wizard Puma, against the quickest funny bike in the world of Rickard Gustafsson. Now, Otto has been running into the 6s for the first time ever this season with a bike in the far lane, but he's up against one tough customer in Rickard Gustafsson. Look at that funny bike go, just leaves the line like a scalded cat, and he goes through and takes the win, 6:59. So a great try though from Otto, 6.81. There you can see, look at that, Rickard with the front wheel in the air till just before the finish line, but he puts it down just in time. So Ian King's going to have a bye in the semis, and it's going to be Phil Papaphilippou all the way from Greece against Rickard Gustafsson on the other side of the ladder. To that race we go. Here comes Phil, the fast Phil as he's known, with the bike from Greece, and he's running the 6s for his first time ever this weekend, down into the 6.7s, and he's leading Rickard. And he takes the win over Rickard Gustafsson as well. Off pace for the Swedish rider. only in the 7.0s. Phil Papaphilippou goes 6.93 on his first ever trip to Santa Pod with this bike. And he's in the final against Ian King. Wow, what a result for him and the team. And unfortunately for Rickard, his worst run of the weekend at the worst time as well. I'm sure he'll consolidate himself with being the quickest funny bike rider in the world. Ian King against Phil Papaphilippou, your final in Top Fuel Bike. So for Greece, I think it's the first time anybody from Greece has been in a Top Fuel Bike final. Up against real homegrown talent in the form of Ian King, and it is Ian in dominant form once again. The Gulf Oil Puma takes another event win. Great weekend for him. Ian, what a fantastic way to wrap up another championship season. The event win, you just must be so happy.
Yeah, it's been a great weekend for us, running the first 5 on British soil by a British rider and actually getting through to the final winning. Fantastic. I'm ecstatic, mainly for my crew.
Okay, we're back with Top Methanol Funny Car. That's how the first round shapes up here at Santa Pod Raceway in England this weekend. This is one of those really exciting classes where the championship isn't decided. Your leader in the points coming into this weekend, Adam Flamholt from Sweden, is actually away racing his Pro Mod in the States this weekend. A bit of a schedule clash, unfortunately. I don't think he actually expected to do that well with the Methanol Funny Car, to be honest. But anyway, near lane, Johan Limburg with championship chances up against Rob Turner for the UK. And Johan, lots of pedalling and tyre spin, and it's going to be Rob putting pay to Johan Limburg. Championship chances in Methanol Funny Car. It was Johan away first, but you can see tyre spin. The car just not behaving itself. The two getting really close together at the finish line too. But it's Rob Turner for the UK moving on and ending Johan Limburg's chances of a title. Well, the next race we're going to show you is that man there wearing the number 1 from last year, Leif Andreasson, the DSAB Monte Carlo from Sweden against Gareth Ellis from the UK. Leif needs to win this if he wants to keep his championship chances alive, and he has the same problem. Spins the tyres off the line. It's Gareth for the UK, ending Leif Andreasson's weekend. And the crew, you can see, head in their hands, can't believe what's happened. Leif was in the 5.6s all the time in qualifying. Just needed one of those then, but he didn't get it. So Steph Millum will be against that man you just saw there, Gareth Ellis. Rob Turner against the man who is about to be champion now, Johnny Limburg. So the crew backing up Johnny. He's going to be up against Rob Turner. Rob took his brother out in round 1. Can he do the same against Johnny Limburg? The answer is rather emphatic no. 5.46 for Johnny. Beats a 5.80 for Rob Turner. Now a 5.80 is a really quick run for a Methanol Funny Car and for Rob Turner, but Johnny Limburg just drove away from him like he was standing still. That is just about one of the quickest times in the world all year for a Top Methanol Funny Car. And it was set by Johnny Limburg, your new champion in that semi-final run. So on the other side of the ladder, it was supposed to be Steph against Gareth, but unfortunately Steph couldn't make the call with engine damage. Gareth takes a bye run on and off the throttle a few times, and Gareth takes a nice easy win to move through against Johnny Limburg in the final. So for the UK, Gareth hasn't actually run any quicker than a 6th this weekend, and he's up against just about, well, he is the fastest funny car in the world. With methanol in the tank, that's Johnny Limburg. So the world's fastest methanol funny car. Let's see what he can do on the Santa Pod quarter mile. The answer is a new European record of 5.42. He's only 100th away from being the quickest in the world. What a fantastic effort for him and the team. Oh, and he's the champ as well.
That was a history run.
Johnny, you've just won your first championship. You've set another new European record. What more is there for you to do?
Tonight we're going to celebrate, and then we're going to plan for the future. Maybe go to US next season with my car and one car back home maybe. We haven't planned so much, but I really would like to do that.
Well, he's going to be tough to beat wherever he goes in the world anyway. So we're on with Pro Stock Bike. Again, a championship to be settled. Today's racing. So highlights of round one. This is the man who's looking to win the championship. That's Frederick Friedlander in the near lane up against Martin Bishop. If he can get by this round, he will be repeat European champion Pro Stock Bike. And he makes it look easy. 7.03 beats Martin Bishop's very game 7.39, but just not quick enough against one of the quickest Pro Stock bikes in Europe. That's Frederick Friedlander. Yeah, no mistakes whatsoever from the man from Holland. There's also a bit of a race on this weekend, and has been for the last few seasons, to get into the 6-second zone for a Pro Stock bike. Near lane, one of the ladies who's got a chance of doing that, Elvira Karlsson, only 18 2 weeks ago. 7.01, 187 miles an hour at 18 years old. What an effort. Beats out Jerry Collier with a 7.93. So Elvira will be in the semis against Kalle Loren. Gert Landesur is up against Frederick Friedlander. So it is Elvira. You can just see how young she is, just looking through her visor in her crash helmet. She's tiny, tiny young lady as well, that really knows how to ride this bike very well. Up against the Vadek machine of Kalle Loren. Him and his dad have had a horrible weekend with engine damage, but they're here in the semi-finals, giving Elvira a really good race. When it comes down to it, just not quite enough. 7.09 beats a 7.24. See Elvira hanging off the side of the bike. There's nothing of her. I can't imagine hanging body weight off the side of that bike makes that much difference, but she rides it so well indeed. That's her dad, Robert, going into the final. So the other side of the ladder, repeat champ Frederick Friedlander is going to be up against Gert-Jan Lesur. That's Gert-Jan in the far lane. Away, very close together, but Frederick Friedlander is pulling out the lead. And Frederick, a very lucky man to make that semi-final run. What we didn't see there was he had trouble starting the bike. Just as Gert-Jan was going into stage, it rained, so Frederick and the team fixed it, came back round again after the rain stopped, and this was that race, and he made it through to the final. He was seriously one lucky guy, but he wasn't lucky that time round. Elvira against Frederick, your final in FIM Pro Stock Bike. Okay, we've got one more race to see on two wheels. So it's the event win up for grabs. Elvira Karlsson, 18 years old from Sweden. Frederick Friedlander from Åland, repeat champion. Can someone run a 6? Can Frederick cap a championship season with a win? The answer is no, it's Elvira, and she does it. Europe's first 6-second run on a Pro Stock bike, and I think they're a little bit happy, to say the least. It's her first ever event win, and look at just how close it was at the finish line. Nothing to choose between them, but it was Elvira. You run the first 6.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I cannot believe that.
It's just been so good for you and your team as well, and your dad as well.
Yeah, my dad cry now. Cry, and I'm very happy.
Very happy indeed is an understatement. We move on to Super Street Bike. That's your final. Steve Venables against Graham Bouchin. It's been a great weekend for these guys, running very quick, very fast indeed. But when it comes down to the final, it's an all-Ven racing affair. That's Steve Venables in the far lane, Graham Bouchin in the near lane with a wheelie in at half track, manages to pull it down. Steve Venables takes the event win, 7.25, 197 miles an hour. He went over 200 miles an hour as well in qualifying. Just outstanding elapsed times and speeds from street-tired bikes. No wheelie bars to keep him down. It's all down to riding skill. Both of them with the front wheel in the air, just managing to keep it barely on the edge of control. What a great class they've been through 2013. So as they coast off the end of the racetrack, we have one more class to show you, and it is the kings of the sport. FIA Top Fuel Dragster quarterfinals lining up around the back of the tower. And the first race we're going to be showing you is Duncan Mikulev, all the way from the beautiful island of Malta, looking confident against Jari Halonen from Finland. And they're part of 4-car top fuel team this weekend, fielded by Rune Fjeld. Jari Halonen qualified for the 4.07, one of his quickest runs of the season. Duncan a little off his usual pace, but the team really getting to grips with that car. He's in the near lane. Jari Halonen far lane. Round 1, FIA Top Fuel. Tyre shake and tyre spin for Jari. It's Duncan with a run you wouldn't normally expect to win, a 4.31 at only 260. Bit of engine damage by the looks of it as well. But most importantly for him, it's a round win. Yeah, you can see Jari dead in the water. The car actually threw the blower belt off the car as well, which meant no drive and no forward motion. So Duncan is going to be moving to the semis. Another race we're going to show you here in round 1. That man right there, Patrick Pears from Sweden, against the new European champ. His first time ever. Next season going to be wearing a big number 1. That's Thomas Nattors from Norway. The Andersons, Per and Karsten, who own and tune that car. Absolutely outstanding all summer. Looking for another event win. He's in the far lane against Patrick in the near lane. Oh, they're both shaking and pedalling and on fire as well. That's a big bonfire for Thomas. It does actually go out past the finish line. Still runs 4.29 at 2.71. Let's just watch that again. They both have tyre shake and tyre spin, and they both actually light it up at the same time. Well, a little bit too exciting. Let's hope they can get it fixed for the semis. Chris Andrews against Thomas Nattors. On the other side of the ladder, Stig Nygaard against Duncan Mikalev. The first race we're going to show you is for the home crowd. Chris Andrews and Lucas Oil against Thomas Nattors, trying to cap the championship season with another event win. So Chris and the Lucas team unfortunately didn't start the season till halfway through in Finland. Was number 1 qualifier in Hockenheim. The car hasn't been running on form this weekend, but as always, drag racing, anything can happen. Here we go. Thomas, champion-elect, goes red and wastes one of his quickest runs of the weekend. 4.03, the fastest speed of the weekend as well, over 1,000 foot, 305 miles an hour, but he wasted it on the red light. Just a millisecond too quick. There you go, you can see him move. 0.05 on the tree, you can't even blink that quick. Thomas throws away, like I said, one of his quickest runs of the weekend. It will be Chris Andrews in the final. So whatever happens now, the Stig Nygaard burns out in the far lane against Duncan Mikalev in the near lane. Whoever gets to the final and wins in FIA Top Fuel, we will have first time event winner here at Santa Pod. So Duncan and Stig. Well, Duncan's car dropping cylinders. Stig with a cylinder out as well, but no such problem. 4.06, his quickest run of the weekend by far. For the team from Denmark, John Smith over from the US helping out with the tuning. You can see Duncan's car just really didn't quite move like it was meant to. Stig's definitely did. 4.06, 2.91. And he'll go into the final against Chris Andrews with lane choice. Well, we've got one more race to show you here in this programme. And it's the final of FIA Top Fuel Dragster, the quickest and fastest accelerating vehicles in the world. 8,000 horsepower each. These two cars sitting on the start line, more horsepower put together than the entire Formula 1 grid. So, moving forward for the traditional tyre warmer, or burnout as we call it. Will it be Stig from Denmark? He's been close a couple of times this season, up against Chris Andrews in the Lucas car. It's Stig in the lead, but Stig, oh, another boomer in that far lane. It's going to be Chris Andrews for the UK and England winning. And are that team ever going to be happy? He pulled out his quickest run of the weekend when he needed it. I think he's going to get mobbed when the crew get down the other end. Well done to him. It went well in the final when you got a win for England.
Well, I'm kind of speechless right now. I don't really know what to say. The struggles we've had all weekend, dropping cylinders, losing blower belts in qualifying. When Lady Luck is on your side, she's on your side big time. And today someone got shut off in the first run, then we got a red light in the second, and we had to put a number on the board in the finals, and we really had to try and go for it. So the guys have worked really, really hard all weekend, and it's all to their credit that I'm here in the finals.
Here on the start line at Santa Pod Raceway with CEO and FIA Championship promoter Keith Bartlett. Keith, Well, what a day it's been. We've had records all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, the weather held. You know, it's a new track this season. We knew it would come good in the finals, and wow, look at it. Pro Stock bike, Elvira Carlson, just unbelievable. You know, that girl 2 years ago was not frightened of the bike, but she was nervous. She was shy in front of cameras. Now she's just set European Pro Stock bike record. She was buzzing in all the interviews today, and it just was fantastic. Followed Top Methanol funny car, Johnny Limbe and Johan Limbe. The pair of them today have been fantastic. You know, they've run really well at Tib, and now they've set a European Top Methanol record. It's just unbelievable. And yesterday it started off with Rickard Gustafsson from Sweden with a funny bike. Started off with a world record, 6:30, whatever it was, but I know it was a world record and it was quick. And I thought, wow. And then out comes Jimmy Orland, again from Sweden. Pro Stock car, runs the most phenomenal time, and it's a world record for an asphalt track. I'm pleased to say that asphalt track's here. And I thought, wow, it can't get any better than that.
Well, what a fantastic end to the FIA and FIM European drag racing season. Your Top Fuel winner, Chris Andrews, just towing back for the biggest party of the year. We do hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next year.